Welcome to a new video by 78 Puertas. In today's video I'm going to make a VR to Mascha from the channel Musings by Mascha regarding our historic tarot treasures. That's the theme, the idea behind this video. It's just to show to everyone in certain categories our most desired or the deck that we like the most according to each category. The first one is our first historical romance, and in my case is this. This was my very first deck, the Tarot de Marseille by Flornoy. I presume that most of you know this deck, but just in case, it's very colorful, and it's a version of the Nicolas Convert tarot, but full of color. The faces are great. You see that here, as it has been changed a little, despite being based on the Convert, it was changed, and that's why it says made by Heracles Fournier in Vitoria, Spain. But it's the same configuration of a typical TDM, Nicolas Convert or TDM2, but full of color, as I'm telling you. This is the first one, the first historical romance. I'm going to leave it here for later on. The most recent historical romance is the next one, and in this case it has to be this, as it is the last one I've received, the most recent one, the Jean Noblet Tarot by Artisan Tarot. I made a review and flipped through the other day, so I presume that you have already seen it, but just in case, here you have it. It has a different color palette, especially after watching the other one, right? It's much darker, but the feeling of this card, the touch of the cardstock, everything in this deck is great. But as I said before, I made a video the other day, so most probably you have already seen it. But this is the most recent one. Okay, the next category is my favorite contemporary tarot, based on historical decks. And in this case is this strange, weird, but lovely mirror deck. The mirror deck was made by Alessandra Spagnoli. You can find her in Instagram as Aletarox, sorry, with X, Aletarox. And as you can see, it's based on the tarot by Camon and Jodorowsky, but with a twist, made with this mirror facing in the card, in each card, because all of them has these two sides, and this central side, which also provides a different approach, a different, let's see if I can, now, you see this face, and it comes with, it's the 22 major arcana and these extra two versions of these two cards. Let me see if I can find, well, here you have the wheel, the death, sorry, you see that it's different, the central part, and in the wheel, let me see, where's the wheel? Yeah, you can see that you can have this rabbit, let's say, going up, or this monkey going down. According to what you prefer to use, you would see, and you will have different interpretations in that central part of the card. Awkward? Maybe. Weird? For sure. But it's great. I love this deck. And that was my favorite contemporary tarot, based on historical ones. The next category is my favorite tarot by Yves Reynaud, and this was a very tough choice. It was really hard to choose for me, but I finally went for this deck, the Jean-Pierre Payen from the 1713. It's a deck that I really love. I have a great connection with this deck, and I don't use it very much because I only use it for myself. When I have to read myself or ask anything, this is the deck I use, and not any other one. And I don't read with this deck for other people. This is just for me. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's just that I have this special connection with this deck. It's very similar in certain cases, in certain cards, to the Dodal, but as you can see here, for instance, you saw before the Queen of Wands, and nowadays Page of Coins, or Valet de Denier. There are also different cards. And let's see, where are the... some faces are just extraordinary. And where are the majors? Maybe at the end. Yes, they're here. As you can see, they are superb. Obviously, as I always say, just like with the colors, there are decks for everyone. So it's just a matter to find the deck that you really like and you really enjoy. And this is my deck. This is one of the decks that I love for me. More. The next category is the favorite tarot deck by Sullivan Hismans from Tarot Sheet Revival. I don't have any of them, so I have changed and switched to my favorite indie tarot deck. And with indie, I mean self-published, which is also similar to what Sullivan does, right? So my favorite self-published or indie tarot deck is this one, the Moonlight Marseille by Naipes Artesanos. I don't know if you see here, Moonlight Marseille tarot deck by come on, read it too close. Naipes Artesanos is hard to see it. Yeah, maybe here is better. Anyway, it's a Spanish card maker. Up to now, like, this is the card. You see, the box is completely different, and that's why I like it. This is just a limited edition of only 30 decks. Only 30. I have the number 3, and I thought I was fast, but I got number 3 instead of number 1. There are still a few available, I think, but the best thing you can do to ensure is to contact them directly in case you like the deck. This deck is special, it's different. As you can see, it's all with these blue colors, which make you seem to be under the moon, right? The moonlight. That's the name of the deck, and there's a reason why for this. In certain cases, certain areas are a bit blurry. As you can see, there's some lack of definition, but not all of them. But I think that this blurry effect helps to give this oniric impression, this atmosphere so special. This is a majors only deck, and I really love it. It's superb. Okay, this is my favorite indie deck, or self-published, as you prefer. The next category is my favorite historical tarot by by Giordano Berti. First, Giordano Berti. From Giordano Berti, this is the deck that I like the most. The Pairing Tarot from 1865. Is in a certain way is very similar to the Dotis or to the Soprafino deck by Gumpenberg and De La Rocca. This is number 246 of 600. And this deck is beautiful. has all the magic and all the power and intensity of the Italian decks, which I love so much. After all, it's just an ordinary Tarot de Marseille, but it's completely different, especially the court cards. The pips are very similar, but the court cards, my goodness, they're awesome. And mayors, the trumps, if you prefer, here for instance in the world, there are only 2 lions here, there's no bull, and there are no eagle and angel. It's different, like each card has its own language, its own depictions, and that's why we can choose. And this one is wonderful. And if you have a tarot deck by Giordano Berti, you know that the cardstock is a dream. Look at this sun, it seems to be smoking, right? Let me see. Now, you see? This is almost like a pipe. It's funny. But as I'm telling you, the details in this deck, the illustrations, it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing, the technical control, and the cardstock, well, it's outstanding, really. One of my most favorite decks, and one of the most beautiful ones. Not the one I like the most, but one of the most beautiful. Now the following category is my favorite historical deck by Yves Meneghello, and this is a very hard task, just like happened before with Yves Reynaud. Sorry, the collection of the possibilities of buying Meneghello decks are so wide, there are so many that it's very hard to choose. And from all of them, and in this particular case, I'm going to focus in this one, this deck, La Corte dei Tarocchi by Anna Maria Donofrio. In one case, one of the reasons is because it was done by a woman, and not by a man, which is also very important, and important for me at least. And the other reason why is the shape of these cards, which is different. This is the number 141 from 2000 decks. And you see if you don't know this deck, you are going to love it. The shape is completely original. It's very thick. It's very thick. This is just one card, and see how thick it is. And the depictions are, well, look at this moon. It's beautiful. I love the color palette. I love the touch, the feeling. I don't like that it's very hard to shuffle. It's difficult to shuffle, but the images are so wonderful. And look at this, the Hanged Man. Look who's oops, sorry. Look who's holding up the ties. Just 2 little birds holding the whole weight of the Hanged Man. It's magical. It's a fantastic deck. I really love it. There are many, as I was saying before in this case, and in Yves Reynaud before, there are many cases. It's very difficult to choose, but this one is special, different, and that's why I chose this deck for this category, because it's different. It's fully different. So this one here. The next category is my favorite historical tarot by Jean-Claude Flornoy, and it has to be this, my beloved Noblette. This is, wow, wonderful. You know, it is very well known worldwide. It's It's small, it's thick, has an outstanding quality. I'm in love with this deck. As well, I also like this one, the other novel that I have by Artisan Tarot, but this one by Flornoy, this is something special to me. You cannot pretend to be engaged to a certain deck, or you like it or not, or you love it or not, you have passion for a deck or not. It's not compulsory. You can choose which decks are the decks that you love, that you feel passion for, and in my case, this is one of them. It's magnificent, absolutely magnificent. Obviously, this is a type 1 or type 0 Tarot de Marseille. It's from 1615, it's the oldest one, the very first Tarot de Marseille, of which there are records. And this is the back, which is glorious. So, let's go for another one. Bit by bit, I'm running out of space. Well, the next category is my favorite non-Franco-Italian historical tarot. I almost chose the 1JJ Swiss, but as it is so similar, I finally went for this, the Vieville tarot. It's made in Paris, yes. It's French in a certain way, yes. But after all, it's the origin of what is known the Belgian tarot. The Van der Boer, for instance, or the Flemish tarot, as you prefer to name it, is completely different. This is the moon, you see. Nothing to be. The directions are fully opposite. The cards, these faces are so special. And look at this devil. It's completely different. And what do you think about this sound? Doesn't it remind you to the Rider-Waite-Smith? This deck is from 1650. And well, this part is so similar to the Marseille tarot. After all, it's made in France, right? But this is the origin of the Belgian tarot, and in a certain way is more Belgian than French, and absolutely is not Italian. This is the tower. This card is the tower. What about this Pope is looking to the future? I like it. It's in a certain way it's a mind-blowing deck to me. Is when I'm getting blocked in readings, I use this deck. It's like a Kickstarter. It's so weird, so different that I have to. This deck makes me that click, so I can restart the system and get away from that block. It's a bit too big for my hands, but it's great. This one in particular is by Civilixi Editions. See it here. Okay, more. The next category is the most expensive historical tarot. I have already shown it. Is this one, the Pairing Tarot by Giordano Berti. So nothing new here. The GOAT is the next category, the greatest of all time. Wow. I'm going to set it aside for a moment. The next category would be the most beautiful historical Italian tarot. And I could have chosen one of the decks by Il Meneghello, but I mean, what I want to say, sorry, I could have chosen this deck for Meneghello, but I prefer to leave it for this particular category. The most beautiful Italian tarot, more than the Viscontis, more than any other deck, is my beloved Sopraffino. This deck is breathtaking for me. It's absolutely glorious in every single detail. This is, well, I don't care. It has the number 1292 from 2000. I don't care even if I have the number 2000. I don't care if it's the last one. This deck is glorious. This deck is one of those decks that puts a smile on my face every time I grab it, and every time I see the cards. And the touch, the silky smooth touch of this deck is amazing. You see, it's in a certain way it's also a TDM, Marseille Tarot, but it's completely different. Looking in this full, the details is just amazing, breathtaking. It's really awesome, and an awesome deck. I'm in love with this deck. It's one of my favorite ones. This star, oh my goodness, this is, I love this deck. Well, if you don't know it, now you do. If you don't like it, it's your problem, not mine. I really do. I really love this deck. I'm going to put it here. The next category is the most beautiful Tarot de Marseille. What a question. The most beautiful ever. When before in the category of the best deck by Yves Reynaud, I show you this deck. It was hard to choose. Just before, as I mentioned, the most beautiful from Il Meneghello was difficult to choose. In this particular case, it's also very difficult. And after thinking and thinking and thinking, I've decided to go for this one. The Tarot by Pierre Madenier from 1709. This is the first Tarot de Marseille Type 2. This is the unit 496. And just like with the Sopraffino, I don't care about the number. Because this deck, this deck is so special. This deck. Well, this is the reversal, you can see clean, but fabulous. It's big, but not huge. But it's, for my hands, it's a bit too big. But the cards, look at these faces. The faces in this deck are probably the best faces in all tarot decks ever. At least, in my opinion. This deck is superb. See, it's just captivating. Look at this. It's wonderful. I really love it. Just like, well, I have passion for tarot, so just like many other decks, I have passion for almost all of them, but not all. That these decks are just so magnificent that I can't help it. It's just wonderful, and it's really hard to choose, hard to tell one from another. If you want one, if you want another. Look at this Empress. Come on. No. Look at it. It's glorious. So this is a glorious deck. At least it is to me, and that's why I'm showing it, and I've chosen it as the most beautiful Tarot de Marseille ever. It's wonderful. I can't say another thing. Wonderful. Okay, give me a second. We are almost done. Just one more category. I'm going to put this one here so I can still have some space. The next category is the historically based mini tarot treasure. So after all, it's just a mini deck, but a traditional one, a historical one. And this option was pretty easy for me because this deck is very, very special. It's the Mini Visconti by Lo Scarabeo. This deck has come with me to many countries and many cities. It's the deck that I always take with me when I travel, always. Because I don't know when I'm going to need a reading. You see, this is so tiny. Well, it's not tiny, it's mini. This deck, which is also small, it's bigger. You see, it's not a mini deck. This deck is not a mini, but this one is a mini. And the level of details and the beauty of this deck is just captivating. Lo Scarabeo made with this deck in three different sizes: mini, standard, and big. I have the mini, and I don't regret it buying it because it's wonderful. Well, you know the Viscontis, right? This is the Visconti Sforza. There are 3 Viscontis. This is the Sforza. And with this, we finish the categories, well, not the categories, the decks. Because now there's one more category that I jumped over before. The greatest of all time, the ones that I like the most. And it's really, really, really hard to tell, at least to me. Obviously, this is one, the Sopraffino, and this is another one, the Madenie. These two for me are so cherished that I can set them aside. These decks have to be with me, as well as the Noblet by Flornoy. Which of the 3 I like the most? I don't know. I love them all, I can tell, I can choose. But these decks are just a wonder to me. Real wonder. I cannot choose, but these 3, this triumvirate, if you prefer, are the ones that I like the most, and I can tell one from another, I can choose between them. I might have to confess that bit by bit, this deck, the Moonlight Marseille, is getting, the more I use it, the more I use it and the more I fell in love with this deck, I'm falling in love in this deck, sorry, and the more I like it, and possibly it's at the same height or at the same level of these decks, of these 3 decks. The only point is that this is the majors only and this is 3 full decks. But the quality of the images in the 4 of them are amazing. This is very specific. This is very oriented. This oniric impression. These readings are superb. But also with these 3. So I cannot tell. I cannot choose. The 3 of them, or even 4, are the best ones in all time. The greatest of all times for me. I cannot choose, really. I cannot. And with this, I finish this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you like it, and I've also taken this chance to show to you a part of my collection. I will show you more. Give me time. See you next time. Bye bye.